Can make me the presenter. Okay. Mm-hmm. Can we say this?
Yes.
Okay, lovely. So today we'll be looking at chapter 7. Once again, sorry for the delay. Which is laptops and other mobile devices. Under this topic, we'll be looking at some objectives, which is we're looking at the characteristics of laptops and other mobile devices. We'll describe the features of mobile devices, the features of laptop components, compare the types of laptop displays. We look at laptop configuration, laptop hardware component installation and configuration, and other mobile devices hardware overview. In other words, we're looking at mobile devices and laptops in summary. We'll also look at network connectivity with regards to laptops and all of that. And I did told us in the last class that we'll be looking at the packet tracer and see what we can do with the packet tracer. So I'll introduce the packet tracer to us today in as much as we'll discuss little about laptops and mobile devices. I want to believe everybody has packet tracer in their system already installed and you can follow every protocol we to do. Is that okay? Do we all have packet tracer in our laptops? Hello?
No, I don't have it, but I will install. And let me check with the rest. Clement, Simon, Suleiman, please. Already.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Hello? Did you have packet tracer?
I'm having packet tracer. That's what then obviously will be. This is Clement.
Okay, Clement, which version do you have?
You will have to install it, right?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, which version do you have?
Yes, you can continue. Maybe after this I'll copy it for Simon.
Okay.
Thank
Everybody should try and have it. I'll shift to the next class. Okay, so maybe we could have the practical in the next class when I'm sure everybody has it in their system. Yeah, so that you can follow exactly because there's some class activity you need to do. Okay, so we'll look at characteristics of laptops and other mobile devices. Mobility and information technology means the ability to access information electronically from different locations outside the home or office. Even from the picture you can see on your right hand side, it shows this creates some flexibility for you to be able to connect. And I think could be like having this past experience already. Mobile devices have self-centered power, rechargeable batteries. They're actually small and lightweight. They do not rely on other connected peripheral devices to operate. They have independent components and are good to go any day, anytime. Laptops they are portable computers that usually run full version of operating systems such as Microsoft Windows, your iOS, or your Linux operating systems. Laptops have the same computing power and memory resources as desktops. Of course, correct. You can have as high memory as what you have in a normal desktop. Laptops integrate a screen, keyboard, and a pointing device such as a touchpad in one portable device. Your laptops can run from an internal battery or from an electrical output. So you can actually power it from both sources. But of course, you need the LC to be able to charge the battery. The upper connectivity options such as wired and wireless, just like the desktop, and Bluetooth as well. So laptops offer device connections such as USB and HDMI. So you have the South Bridge, which comprises your USB ports and also hello, can you hear me? Hello? Are we there?
I was on mute. Yes, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. So you have the USB and your HDMI, your laptop, and in order to make laptops more portable, some peripheral connection options may require additional hardware such as a dock or port replicator. So you show the same interfaces you have with your desktop, you have for your laptop. And for smartphone characteristics, we can also agree with this condition. The smartphone runs special operating systems that are designed for mobile devices like the Android. Smartphone may have limited OS availability and can require the purchase of a new model to take advantage of the latest OS features and apps that have that limited operating system. And so actually you need a new model to take advantage of that latest OS. And software for smartphones is usually limited to apps, which is correct, that can be downloaded from stores such as Google Play and Apple Store. Okay, that's for the Android and for Mac. Smartphones use cellular connectivity options for voice, use it for text with data. So in other words, you can have your unified connectivity in your smartphone. Other data connections include Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So you can see a typical picture of that. So most smartphones include your GPS functionality, which actually takes your location and actually helps to track one's location. And the GPS receiver in the phone uses satellites to determine the geographical location of the device. And some apps allow a smartphone to act as an auxiliary GPS that provides guidance for driving, biking, or walking. This has really helped us in this era to actually, to find our way through cities where we haven't been before, or because you have the future, the GPS feature to help you navigate around. So devices without a GPS service can still determine the location in less precise way by using info coming from nearby mobile devices such as antenna or nearby Wi-Fi access points. So another feature of smartphones is the ability to tether or share, which in other words create some hotspots for others to be able to connect. So mobile devices still, we're looking at tablets and e-readers. Tablets are similar to smartphones in that they use special mobile operating systems like Android or iOS. Tablets usually offer Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity and must have USB and audio port. So you begin to see the difference between your tablet from your normal smartphone. Most of the apps that work on phones are usually available for tablets. Unlike smartphones, tablets normally have large touch screens, which could be because your smartphone has a smaller screen. So most tablets do not have the ability to access cellular networks. Usually do not include GPS receiver. Not all, but most precisely. Then e-readers such as Amazon Kindle are special purpose devices with black and white display that have been optimized for reading text generally. Although they resemble tablets, they lack many of the features and functions a tablet provides. So they have some limitations. They generally are used for optimized for reading what text. Many have touch display that make it easy to turn pages, change settings, and access ebooks online. So for connectivity, some offer free cellular data connections for downloading books from a specific store, but most rely on Wi-Fi. So the e-reader battery life is very longer than tablet. Also, this you can also see because of you cannot compare the functionalities of the e-readers with that of the tablet in terms of resources. Wearables such as smartwatches and fitness trackers. Wearables are smart devices that are meant to be worn on the body or attached to clothing. Um, and then smartwatches are a type of wearables that includes a microprocessor, a special operating system, and so sensors in smartwatch can gather data about various aspects of the body and use Bluetooth to report this information back to other devices, or other devices the case may be. So smartphones are connected directly to cellular networks unlike GPS. So you can see the difference between the two. They provide convenient display for notifications from apps and store and play. So I think virtually everything here are things we experience with smartwatches and smartphones. And then the fitness trackers actually are similar to smartwatches, but are limited to monitoring the body, such as physical activity, sleep, exercise. So most of these actually are IoT enabled, that's Internet of Things, which also help for monitoring of the body system. So you can also see wearables when it comes to augmented and virtual reality. In AR, computer graphics are integrated with what is seen in the real world. You can see that, right? It's a very good experience to use this. You can also use this for learning because there's so many things you can do with virtual reality. A user wears a special headset which displays graphics from a separate computer. I think Cisco is already thinking in this direction where we could use virtual reality to actually learn how to configure a router and switches, not necessarily using the keyboard per se, but using the VR. I had this experience that was in 2019 in Portugal, where this was also tested. So I think it's a great experience. The VR user's motions are detected by sensors, which allow the user to interact and move around the virtual environment. So you could actually use your hand while wearing the AR. You can use your hand to click on those things uh, and have that experience. And so there's a lab for it, which is a mobile device information. So in this lab, you use the internet, a technical journal, or local store to gather information about an Android and iOS. This we can actually find in the content. So when you log into your account, you go straight to this lab, the student lab, and try to test this out and see. So be prepared to discuss the decision regarding the devices you select yourself. So I want us to actually go through that and then watch this video, uh, learn about external features and unique laptops when it comes to mobile devices. So let's try and test the works together. So motherboard. I know we talked about the motherboard prior to this time, but here we're looking at the laptop component when it comes to the motherboard of the laptop. So the compact nature of laptops require a number of internal components to fit in a small amount of space. The size restrictions, as a form factor for the laptop motherboard is quite small. The size restriction results in a variety of form factors for a number of laptop components such as the motherboard, the RAM, the CPU, and the storage devices. So some laptop components such as the CPU may be designed to use less power because the surrounding components. Desktop motherboards have standard form factors compared to other laptops. The standard size and shape allow motherboards from different manufacturers to fit into common desktop cases. Laptop motherboard may vary by manufacturer, looking at the size. So if you look at the different laptops we have, considering the external case, you could tell that definitely the form factor of this motherboard with that variation. So when it comes to laptop, lot of variations actually come to play. So you could see the internal components of a typical laptop, from the RAM, CPU, SATA drives, and solid-state drives. So you can see the RAM. You can see this is of sodium, that is made of sodium, which is small outline dual inline memory modules. And this same kind of RAM is what is used in some printers. Some of these network printers actually use the same kind of RAM that you have in a laptop in terms of the categorization on the sodium. And then you can see the hard drive. I think the question was asked some time ago by one of the potential instructors here that can you actually substitute the laptop hard drive with a desktop? So you can see the size of the laptop hard drive, quite small because of the form factor. And that's the CPU you can see there. So special function keys. The purpose of the function key is to activate the second function on the dual purpose, so that you can actually have some kind of a function that you can do as more or less like an alternate key. So the feature that is accessed by pressing the FN key in the combination with another key is printed on the key in a small font or different color with an icon. Some example of functions that can be accessed, like the dual display, so that whatever you have in one system appears in the other one. The volume settings, media options such as fast forward, rewind, keyboard backlight, screen orientation, screen brightness, Wi-Fi. So these are a number of functions that can be accessed. And of course, when you turn on the system, most of us actually have been playing around this, and then you can actually agree with this condition. You can have the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth, the media options such as play or rewind, touchpad, or put it up so you can use your mouse, GPS on and off, and the airplane mode. This is when you don't need to browse, but we want to use the system. So really be sure that you're not on that frequency of the Wi-Fi. You can actually put on your air mode. So we can watch the video for port connectors, locking laptop into docking connector. All these are available for us on the area. And then I also advise that the recycle docking stations in port that should be also be done in the lab. And what it means is that a docking station uses proprietary connectors that turn laptops into desktop systems by connecting them to other peripheral devices such as a mouse, keyboard, and external monitors. So a multiplicator can provide some or all the functionality of docking station. It usually connects the laptops via USB or a Thunderbolt connection. So I want to believe we know this connection type. Thunderbolt oftentimes like what you have for your external drive. That's what Thunderbolt is. So in this lab, you will set the specification for a proprietary laptop docking station and generic port indicator for a specific laptop model. Be prepared to discuss the decisions regarding the other choices. And so laptop display components, you look at the LCD, the LED, the OLED in terms of display. We already know what the LCD is. You look at liquid crystal display, commonly uses twisted pneumatic or in-plane switching mode. So there are different types of the laptop. So you have the LED, which uses less power and has a longer lifespan than LCD. And then we have the OLED, used commonly for mobile devices and digital cameras. So the laptop display features still, we have some common laptop display features which includes the touchable screen. Some laptops permit the touch screen to be used like a tablet when the display is detached. So when you move a display, like what you can see from the first picture here, you can actually still use the screen. There's that connectivity. Ready? So touch screens, laptops with touch screens have a special glass attached to the front of the screen, known as the digitizer. And then the cutoff switch is what you can see here. So the cutoff switch helps conserve power by turning off the display. So once that is closed, automatically to cut off the switches. That will help you preserve power. And then the backlight and the battery. So for the backlight, you're looking at the backlight and the system. So here are two common types of backlight that exist: the cold cathode fluorescent lamp, and a light for emitting diode type. So these are the two we have. And the display components include backlight and inverters. And then we have the fluorescent backlight. And then we also have the inverter and then the LED backlight. So these are like display components which actually exist for the different laptops when it comes to display. So most times when you power on your system, you see that even when it's dark, you have this backlight that shows the keyboard for you to use. So they are different, they come in different display form. So if you come across any of them or you're currently using any of them, you can see the display we're talking about. And then here we have the Wi-Fi component, which is already displayed in the pictures you can see. The Wi-Fi antenna connectors, the Wi-Fi antenna in laptops are typically located above the screen. You can see that the Wi-Fi antenna in laptops are typically located above the screen. So usually the antenna is above the screen. Sometimes you're looking for it. Then Wi-Fi antenna lead. The Wi-Fi antenna is connected to wireless card by an antenna wire and antenna lead. The Wi-Fi antenna wire guides. The wires are fastened to the display unit by wire guides located on the side of the screen, as you can see in the third picture here. So these are this is how you have the Wi-Fi antenna. And with that, if you have this, you're sure you can always browse wireless. And then we have the webcam, so you can actually see the position of the webcam and the microphone. So you can see where the mic is on the system, your laptop. So we actually need to know this look at the position so that each time we enable or disable them, we can also identify this location. So this will help our students as well. So we need to show them all of this. So the internal microphone can often be found next to the webcam. So they come side and side. That's the internal microphone, not the external microphone. So let's look at the laptop configuration. First is the power management. How do you look at the power setting configuration? Configuring laptop power setting to better manage power usage, ensure that the battery is used efficiently. So power management controls the flow of electricity to the component of the computer. So you're sure that that is where the power source is and then when it's distributed. Like we said at the beginning of this course, we usually have the data signals, the power signals, and the control signals. So the power signal is actually key in driving most of the component. That's what energizes most of the component to transmit your normal data signals. So the advanced configuration and power interface creates a bridge between the hardware and the operating system and allows technicians to create power management schemes to get the best performance from a laptop. So the ACPI power state you can see here, for the S0 the computer is on and the CPU is running. When it's S1, is actually the CPU and the RAM are still receiving power. The unused device are powered down. And then when it's S2, the CPU is off, but the RAM is refreshed. The system is in low power mode than S1. And this tells how the power distribution is here in terms of the state of the different components when it comes to the CPU and the RAM. We also need to note here that the CPU takes a lot of power. These are actually devices that actually work around the clock. Your CPU processes your information, your data, and your RAM also provides that running activity each time you use the system. So in this case, you can see here that the CPU and the RAM are off. When you have the CPU and RAM off, what happens? The content of RAM have been saved to a temporary file on the hard disk. This mode also called save to disk. This state is known as what? Hibernate mode. So with this, you can actually conserve power. Okay, and then the computer is off. When it's off, okay, sure, you want to believe that your power is completely saved. So how do you get into this? You can get into your BIOS setting. The technician are currently required to configure the power settings by changing the setting in the BIOS. So how do you do that? Configure power settings affect the following: system state, the battery and the AC mode, the thermal management, CPU, PCI, bus power management, and then the wake on LAN. Okay, and the ACPI power management mode must be enabled in the power, as in the BIOS or UEFI, to allow the OS to configure the power management state. So when you get into the setup file, you go to your power, so you can actually see the power management here. Remember, there are either you press the F2 to get into your setup mode, because when you boot up your system, you always see which of the function key to use to get into the BIOS setting. So you can actually manage that from here directly. Okay, so we need to watch the video. And then Bluetooth. The Bluetooth technical specification is described as Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, that's IEEE, is of 802.15. So the IEEE standard for Bluetooth is 802.15. Bluetooth devices are capable of handling voice, music, videos, data. So you can actually use this for different purposes. And the good news here is that it also has a long range for approximately 33 feet. It's about 10 meters. So that's long enough. So security measures are included in the Bluetooth standard. So the first time a Bluetooth device connects, the device is authenticated using a PIN, which is known as pairing. Bluetooth supports both 128-bit encryption and PIN. So there have been some improvement in the Bluetooth security. So the Bluetooth laptop connection. So here you can see that Windows activates connections to Bluetooth device by default. Okay. So if the connection is not active, look for a switch in the front face or the side of the laptop to see if that's where the switch is for the Bluetooth. For some devices, it comes by default. For others, you need to turn on the switch. The switch just either be by the side, and then you turn it on. If a laptop does not include Bluetooth technology, you can purchase a Bluetooth adapter that plugs into the USB port. So there's some backup for those who don't have the Bluetooth technology, either wireless, either inbuilt or that is inbuilt, in the system, which comes by default, or you need a switch to enable it. If you don't have either of these, then automatically you have to get an adapter to install that. So before installing and configuring the device, make sure the Bluetooth is enabled in the BIOS. Turn on the device and make it discoverable. Use the Bluetooth wizard to search and discover Bluetooth devices that are in discoverable mode. So you can always do that to go back and forth. If you can't actually locate your Bluetooth, you can go to the search in the system to do that. So we need to also watch that video. So cellular one, laptops with integrated cellular one requires require no software installation and no additional antenna or accessible. Once it has the integrated cellular one, so with that you can actually integrate the hotspots here, as you can see here. You can actually set it up because it's already in use. So some laptops may use a special function key on the keyboard to enable the connection of the physical switch to the front or side of the laptop. So many cell phones provide the ability to connect other devices to the internet. And then this connection, known as tagging, can be made using Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or by using a USB cable. So when a cellular phone allows Wi-Fi device to connect and use the mobile data, this is called an hotspot. So this is actually the definition of a hotspot. Once you're able to allow the Wi-Fi device to connect to the mobile device, automatically the hotspot will be created. You can also access a cellular network by using a cellular hotspot device. So you can see the Wi-Fi here. It comes in different form factors as well. Okay. Let's watch the video to see how Wi-Fi operates. The laptop hardware and component installation in configuration. So you can see here, it is the express card for expansion slots here. So here you can actually plug in as many, you can plug in external drive. So express bus, express card 84. So this actually provides you that interface where you can plug in extra cards. So for Wi-Fi or for any of the other services that will be required to give you the opportunity to do that. And then when it comes to the expansion slots too, you also look at the flash memory. Remember, we're looking at how to be able to interface or install new devices. So flash memory, external flash drive. So a mobile storage device that connects to an expansion port such as USB, the eSATA or FireWire. Is what of external flash drive. So your flash drives provide fast access to data, okay, high reliability and reduce power usage. I think 5 gigabytes is what it takes. Okay, and then our flash card. You can see the flash card is a data storage device that uses flash memory to store the information. That's what the flash card is used for. Okay. Hello, Clement. Like your mic is on. And then the flash card are small, portable, and require no power to maintain data. So you can see the picture of the flash card there. Most modern laptops feature a flash card reader for secure digital high capacity flash cards. Okay. I want to believe you can actually relate with what we have on the right hand side. They actually explain what a flash memory is. And you can see the ports for the external flash drive. You see ports where you can actually slot in the external drive. So smart card reader. A smart card reader is similar to a credit card that has an embedded microprocessor that can be loaded with data. Okay, you can see that. So it can be used for telephone calling, electronic cash, for payment, and other applications. This is common. We've been using this already. And then the SODIMM, like we said, here we'll explain what the SODIMM is. We said this is also present in laptops and in printers and smaller smart devices. You have this SODIMM. So the SODIMM is a type of RAM, which you can find in most of these devices. So this is an overview of hardware replacement. So some part of the laptop, typically called customer replaceable unit, can be replaced by the customer, which includes components such as a laptop battery and RAM. This can actually be replaced. They're replaceable. If the battery is bad, you can change it. You can actually change your RAM to. Parts that should not be replaced by the customer are called field replaceable units. So the one that the customer can replace by themselves are the CRU, which is laptop battery and RAM. So the field replaceable units include components such as motherboard. This requires some level of efficiency for you to do that. The LCD display and the keyboard. So the following are common repairs performed at local repair centers. One, hardware and software diagnostics, data and transfer recovery, keyboard and fan replacement, internal laptop cleaning. So you don't expect the customer to do this. Rather, this has to be done on the field. So these are the areas where we need to emphasize when we are teaching our students. So I want all the instructors in the house to take strong, to attach a lot of importance to this, because if you're able to put the student through the various procedures in actually working on the hardware and the software, do some data backup, transfer of data, internal laptop cleaning, to remove dust in order to bring back the system into working mode if the system is faulty. Because we said, I remember saying that 50% of the faults we see with most of the systems around, especially in this part of the world, it's actually dust is a strong factor, one of the strong factors to be considered. So we need to put our students through in this area, very important. And so they need to watch the laptop and see how the battery power pack is removed, battery that is removed from the laptop and how it's being replaced. Like I said, this is what the customer can do. And then we actually are particularly looking at what we will do as instructors and teach our students to do. I think that is more important here because that is where the skill comes in. So you have to put a lot of emphasis on the skill when you're teaching them some of the theories here. So the internal storage and optical drive. So the form factor for this internal storage is smaller for a laptop compared to that of a desktop. So we see here that there's a lot of variation between internal devices for laptops and that of the desktop. So most storage devices are customer, repair units, unless a warranty required technical assistance. On most laptops, the internal hard drive and the internal optical drive are inserted into bays. So you have a base where you can insert these devices that are protected by a movable cover on the case. On some laptops, the keyboard must be removed to access these drives. Some of them you can actually get it by the side, some under, some you have to remove the keyboard to access them. So to view the currently installed storage device, check the post on the screen of the BIOS of the laptop. So there's a lab here, you use the internet or local store to gather information about storage and optical drives for a laptop. So like I said, you can use the internet to actually do search and gather more information on this. So we need to walk our students through the videos for them to have an idea for this. So other mobile device hardware. So we have a cell phone part. You can see the cell phone part here. The cell phone contains one or more of these few replaceable parts. Of course, the few replaceable parts are the ones that you take to the technician, to the DOM at the lab. And then the customer replaceable part is the one this customer itself can carry out. So a SIM card contains information used to authenticate the device to mobile telephone and data providers. The card can also hold user data such as personal contact and text messages. So a secure digital SD card is used to add memory to many mobile devices. So you can see the SD card here. You can add information to this memory and slot it into the system. So when a mobile device malfunctions, it's usually sent to the manufacturer for repair or for replacement. Okay. So wired connectivity. So you can see we have different types of wire. A USB, you can use a USB cable. You can use a micro USB cable, so you can see the micro. USB is quite small compared to the normal USB cable. You can also use a lighting cable in port. You can see this. So this comes in different shapes and sizes for connectivity purposes. And so for other mobile devices, we also have wireless connections and shared internet connections. So besides Wi-Fi, mobile devices also use the following wireless connection. So we have what we call the new field communication, which enable mobile devices to establish radio communications with other devices by replacing the devices close together or by touching them together. So that's what we refer to as the new field communication. And then we know what the infrared is. So the infrared is also a mobile device. When it's enabled, it can be used to control other IR control devices remotely, such as your TV, top box, or your audio equipment. So you can use the infrared. You can also use the Bluetooth too, to connect to create wireless connection. We can also use a smartphone can be shared with other devices, like doing what we call the tether. This uses cellular phones as modem for other devices such as a tablet for laptop. And then you can also do what we call the hotspot, where you create the ability for other Wi-Fi devices to connect remotely, wirelessly as well. So wearable devices, so you can see the different wearable devices. Some of these were mentioned already, but then the picture here tells. You also have smartwatches, you have the IoT device, you have your VR and augmented reality. All these are wearable devices and specialty devices. So we have devices, specialty mobile devices. There are many other types of smart devices that benefit from network connectivity and advanced options. So one of them is, so we have so many of them. Global positioning, that's the GPS system, is a satellite-based navigation and system. You can see that from the picture here, which is common. We all use it for locations and all of that. So the GPS satellite are located in space and transmit signals back to Earth. So an electronic reader or e-reader is a device optimized for reading electronic books, e-books, newspapers, and other documents. So these have Wi-Fi or cellular connectivity for downloading content. So you can agree with that. Then network connectivity and email. So let's look at network connectivity in email. The good news now is that we know that this connectivity are actually based on IP addresses and all of that. So let's look at what wireless data network is. The ability of a laptop, tablet, or a cell phone to wirelessly connect to the internet has provided people with freedom to work, learn, communicate, and play. So you can imagine if systems are not connected and they cannot share resources. This simply puts that you have an independent system, and I mean, it actually play a very small role. But because these systems can actually connect to the internet, they could do so many things. So mobile devices typically have two wireless internet connectivity options, which is a Wi-Fi and cellular. Okay. So we'll look at the laptop. Like I said, I'm shifting the practical today for the next class where we can actually set up Wi-Fi on the packet tracer, enable them, and then to demonstrate to our students how this actually works. So for a cellular communication standard, we have it, this actually has evolved over the past 10 years from 1G to 5G. And we can see that this actually has created that speed from the 1G. So from 1G, you look at the speed, 2G. So the variation here is in terms of speed, the wireless speed. So when the 1G is in the 80s, you can see introduced in the 1980s. And then you can see the 5G In 2019, so why use the latest standard? It's more efficient than previous standards, and it supports speed up to 20 gigabytes per second. I mean, that's a super speed compared to the other generation of cellular communication. So this is the airplane mode we talked about. So mobile devices have a setting called airplane mode. So this setting turns off all cellular as well as your Wi-Fi and Bluetooth radios. So most mobile devices function as still usable, but communication is not possible. So you can use it, but until you turn off the plane mode. So you can also see the hotspot. You use your mobile phone to create a hotspot, as we discussed earlier. And then this is the Bluetooth for mobile devices. So common Bluetooth devices for mobile devices include wireless speakers. So you can use it for your headphone, for your keyboard, for gaming console. If you do Bluetooth pairing, you can pair your devices, your mobile phone with your laptop to share resources. And each time you're doing that, it actually requires some security passes secured, actually. The two devices will exchange that for authentication. So there must be a PIN you have to enter to connect the two devices. So to the email, in relation to email, configuring the email. So email servers require email software such as Microsoft Server Exchange to exchange information. You can see like your port 25 and port 110. They all have to do with mailing, delivery agent, and the receiving agent. In this case, we're looking at Exchange, also contact manager, and calendaring software. All these actually are modes of creating email between the client and the server. So you can have it in different, Microsoft Outlook, and have it in Microsoft Server Exchange, and the rest of it. So here is the POP port 110, the SMTP, which is port 25, or actually for the various email protocols. Okay, so you can see that here as well. Many clients are configuring using a wizard. However, you still need to know key information to set up an email account. What do you need? Email address. This is the address people need to send email to you. Then display name, the name that has to appear. It's a nickname. Email protocols are used for incoming mail servers. So what we're saying here is that this actually can be configured from server to client. So you can actually have it tied to a domain for exchange of information within an organization. This is Android configuration. So Android devices are capable of using advanced communication application and data services. So many of the applications and features require the use of web service provided by Google. When you configure an Android mobile device for the first time, you are prompted to sign in to your Google account with your Gmail email address and then the password. So that's good. You can't get an Android phone without actually setting up this because who owns Android. So oftentimes when you're setting up your system, your phone, you register your email in the Google account and the Google Play Store, then you're good to go. And then for the iOS email, it also is for the iOS device, just like we talked about for the Android. And then the internet email. So email service is provided using either local email or the internet email. So local in the sense that you can provide within your own organization. You can set up your own email server and your organization, connect the systems to them locally and within locally. But you can also use the internet email. In this case, we will use Gmail, Yahoo Mail. These are internet mail. Users can access their online mail using default email app, which includes OS such as iOS Mail. So you can either be local or you use the internet type. So types of data to synchronize. So many people use a common a combination of desktop, laptop, tablet, and smartphone device to access store information. Okay, so there are many different types of data to synchronize: contact, applications, image, pictures, calendar, bookmarks, application, data, social media data, ebooks, passwords. So these actually are types of data to actually synchronize on a daily basis using your mobile device. And then enabling synchronization. How do you do that? Android device can synchronize your contact and other data, including that from Facebook or on Twitter. So all devices with the same Google account will have access to the same data for it to synchronize. So Android synchronize also allows the user to choose the type of data to want to synchronize to. In that, we have mentioned the types here, including here. So synchronization connection types. To synchronize data between devices, the device uses either USB or Wi-Fi to synchronize, after which you can exchange this data. So one thing is common here. After doing all this configuration on your mobile phone, your laptops, for the purpose of exchanging information between either the server and the client system, and enabling some key functions on your laptop, having access to some of the components for replacement, like we said, the field replacement unit, and then that of the customer replacement. So we said for the customer replacement unit, customer can actually do that themselves, and then for the field, that will be done by the technician or by the manufacturer or the expert. So if all this haven't been done, we need to look at the preventive maintenance for laptop, because we don't want some faults to arise. So how do we maintain this? The reason for maintenance is because laptop and mobile devices are portable, so they use in different types of environments. So you must let them know that there's high demand for maintenance. So you can see this picture where somebody mistakenly spilled a cup of tea or something on the key on the system. So if that happens, what happens? This drops straight into the system, gets to the motherboard, dry up on the motherboard, short the bus lines or what we call the bus wires. And once it's short-circuited, we find that after 1 or 2 days, there's no connectivity. So that's one of the reasons. So we need to take some measures. So the maintenance schedule for a laptop will include practices that are unique to a particular organization, but should also include standard procedures of training. So hard drive maintenance and software of this. So routine maintenance includes monthly cleaning of this laptop components, exterior keys, cooling banks, and input-output ports, display, keyboard, the touch pad, and all of that. So when cleaning a laptop, never use harsh cleaners or solutions that contain ammonia. This can actually damage it. Use non-abrasive materials, including compressed air, mild cleaning solutions, cotton swab, and soft light lint free clothes to do this. So you can see the picture of what we're talking about here. All these are precautions. So we're talking about cleaning. Cleaning mobile devices can be damaged by drop of excessive moisture, heat, so you need to be in a dry environment. The touch screen should be protected using a screen protector, so that once it falls, the sure it's protected. Backup the data to another source onto the cloud in case of failure. Update the operating system and applications when available. So when troubleshooting, what do you do? The troubleshooting process also goes through the same procedure like we have in the previous class on our network. You got to have to identify the problem, establish a theory of probable cause, test the theory to determine the cause, establish a plan of action to resolve the problem, and implement the solution. And then verify full system functionality, and if applicable, implement preventive measures. And specifically document findings and actions and outcomes. These are very important steps to take. So we clearly look at this as well from the same perspective. Open-ended questions. Identify the problem, for instance. What problem are you experiencing with your laptop? what software has been installed recently, what were you doing when the problem was identified, what error messages have you received. Now these are questions to be asked, either from the customer angle, because when you ask this, it helps you to identify the problem. If you don't ask these questions or look at for questions like this, you won't be able to identify the problems. Then close-ended questions in the laptop under warranty. To close, is the laptop under warranty? You need to find out, is the laptop currently using the battery? Can the laptop operate using Ether data? Can the laptop boot show the operating system? So you can see that under identify the problem. So these are procedures that guide the technician, guide the engineer to be able to know how to modify the problem. And then how does he establish a theory? He needs to now look at, for instance, common cause of laptop problems. He looks at the battery does not have a charge, battery will not charge, loose cable connections, keyboard doesn't work. And these are actually questions that help the technician to establish a theory. So each of these gives us a guide, like test the theory. And for you to test the theory also, you look at common steps to determine the cause of laptop problems. That's how to test theory. Is that okay? You replace the theory battery because previously you discovered that the battery may not be working. So you replace the battery, reboot the laptop, check the BIOS settings to see if some changes have been made, disconnect and reconnect the cables, disconnect the repair, toggle thumb lock key. So these are actually different theories that can be tested based on identifying the problem. So if you don't identify the problem, there's no way you can test the theory. So you need to ensure that they are the likely problems. And then establish a plan of action. So now that you've identified the problem here, and you test the theory, then the next thing to carry out a plan of action. Okay. And then when that is done, you document. Then these are also procedures. So common problem solution for laptops and other mobile devices. I will admonish us, the instructors, that we need to take strict adherence when it comes to this aspect of troubleshooting, because that's where the students' keen interest is. They really want to, they are inquisitive, to know how to rectify this stuff. So we need to actually get this in our labs and play around with it with the students so they can see how this stuff have been resolved. Very, very important. Okay. So the lab research laptop problems. Laptops often use proprietary parts to find information about the replacement parts. So you may have to research the website of the laptop for the parts. So this you must do to before you replace part and get information from the customer. So in this lab, you act as a call center technician, create close-ended, open-ended questions to ask the customer about the laptop problem. So you can actually do this to know how to gather some information to identify problems. So investigate the support website. In this lab, there's a lab here which I explained us to do. We all need to do this. You will investigate the services provided by a local laptop repair company or a laptop manufacturer support website. Use the internet or local phone directory to locate a local laptop repair company or laptop manufacturer support website. So once that is done, so in summary, I would say that we need to put a lot of emphasis when it comes to the area of troubleshooting, maintenance, and configuration. So first is to show the student the features, the different components of the laptops and mobile devices. And secondly is to guide them on the configuration, like the power settings, wireless settings, how to set up probably personal area network, connect the laptop to the printer, maybe through Bluetooth, connect the phone to the wireless printer. So you can actually show them how this is configured and being set up. that will arouse their interest in this course. Explain how to remove and install laptop components. You need to show them this. Describe the purpose and characteristics of other mobile devices. You need to show, explain this. You also need to configure network connectivity and email or mobile devices so they can see how this works, between client and the server. There's this number of them. You can even use Google Form to show them how that works. You can also use Kobo Toolbox. Kobo Toolbox is another very good application where you can install in the system as a server, and then you can use a mobile, create an email, an account, and show how data can be transferred from the client to the server. So there are a number of applications that can do that. Even with server, the Outlook, Microsoft Outlook as well. All that is to explain how the network is configured. And then common preventive maintenance techniques is important. You need to know how this is, and then you also teach them the corrective maintenance. That's where the troubleshooting comes in. Explain how to troubleshoot laptops and mobile devices. Any questions so far? I'm going to entertain question now. Hello, are we there?
Yeah.
Oh,
not from my side. I don't know if Clement, Simon, Jacobo, do you have any questions? I will unmute you now. Simon? Clement, do you have any question?
No, I don't have any question. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, so no question. Okay, interesting. So it shows that at least we're following through in all of that. So there are no questions. You need to go through the material and then read through and attend the chapter quizzes and the exams, and then try to do the lab as well. I would like to have the lab at the end of this program. You can actually do the lab and then save them in a folder with your name and send to me by email. I'm going to look at what you've done so far. And it's also expected that you show your students how to do the same once you start teaching them. This is very important. I mean, that forms the foundation for their IT career as well. So if there are no questions, then Marilyn, over to you.
Okay. So then talk you next session on Thursday.
Yeah, that'll be Thursday. Thursday, same thing.
Okay. Thursday will be at 6 at the same time that usual?
Yes, same time, please. I just have to shift to this time because the traffic I had on my way.
Okay. Okay. Thank you then.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. And good night from here.
Good night. Thank you.
Yeah, good night.